So in the last video, we talked about two-stage microinverters, right? So a two-stage microinverter was essentially where you have first stage, which is a DC to DC converter, right? Which uses low voltage. Again, as the example we took, let's say it takes 30 volt DC and produces a 400 volt DC, right? Which then goes to inverter, which is the second stage, and produces or connects to 230 volt AC supply, right? This was the two-stage architecture. Now, how is this system controlled? So usually you see here, this DC voltage is controlled to be a fixed value, right? It's not varying; it's a fixed DC voltage. And now on both sides there are switching happening, right? Both side switching is happening on in the inverter part also, in the converter part also. Now because both side switching is happening, both side requires filter components to filter out the switching frequency. Both side switching losses are also happening. So now, as a next step, right, or a logical way of thinking here could be that can I avoid this switching in one of these stages, right? Thereby, maybe improving the efficiency and reducing the filter requirements also, right? So switching causes losses and also require filters, right? Either L or LC or LCL, right? Which so as to so as to reduce the ripple component in the current, right? So therefore, if there is no switching, the losses may reduce, the requirement of filter may also come down on in that particular side. So that is the basic idea behind this so-called quasi two-stage, right? So that's the name I'm giving because it is a two-stage. It's almost a two-stage, but a little bit different from the two-stage. So the system still looks the same, right? There's no change. The system looks the same. The only thing that changes is instead of maintaining this DC voltage to a fixed value, we maintained it as an rectified sine wave. So let me explain what I'm trying to say here. Let's say we have a DC to DC flyback converter. Now if I get 30 volt DC here, right, I can produce 400 volt DC, right? I can do that. I can produce a fixed voltage DC here by a suitable closed loop control where let's say I monitor this 400 volt and compare it with the reference and maintains a fixed 400 volt. The other option is instead of maintaining this as fixed 400, I can generate a voltage which is like a rectified sine wave at this point. Let me call it V1, whose peak value is 230 into root 2. Right? This is still DC, right? So I can still manipulate or control the duty cycle to generate this kind of output voltage waveform. If I generate this kind of output voltage waveform instead of a 400 volt DC, then in the next stage, right? In the next stage, what do I need to do? In the next stage, which is the inverter stage, I don't need to do any switching. Only thing I need to do is unfolding of this waveform, right? So the inverter in that case only does the job of unfolding. Right? How does it unfold? For example, now let's say I have the same full bridge. I can keep S1 and S2 on for 10 millisecond, and I can keep S3 and S4 on for next 10 milliseconds. So if the input voltage is V1, right? What will be the output voltage V2? Output voltage V2 would look something like this. Right? This is V2. And therefore, this stage, what it has done, so there was a folded sine wave, right? It has unfolded it. So this is an unfolding, right? So now in this inverter, you see there is no switching loss happening. Because why? Because the switches are only switching once in a power cycle, once in 20 milliseconds, right? So there's no switching loss. Because there's no switching happening, you don't need filters here, right? You don't need inductors here per se. And yes, there is conduction loss still happening, but it seems that there is an advantage of using this kind of a quasi two stage, where the first stage or the DC-DC stage generates a rectified sine wave, right? This is a rectified sine wave, and the second stage produces the full sine wave by unfolding the rectified sine wave. Now I have explained you this concept in terms of the voltage, right? I've explained you this concept in terms of the voltage. In terms of current also, you can see something very similar can be done. For instance, you can have the first stage which produces, instead of producing a DC current, it produces a rectified current, and then you have the unfolding stage which gives you the sinusoidal current, right? So this basic principle of producing a rectified sine wave and unfolding can be applied to both current as well as voltage. Now one may certainly feel, right, that yeah, this seems better than two stage but yeah, in some aspect it is better than two stage, but not necessarily in all aspects, right? So if you see, there are trade-off which exists. So first of the trade-off you see is because of this being quasi two stage, right? What has happened is this power that is being supplied by this DC-DC, if you see, it is not constant. Why? Because the output voltage or the current has to be varied in a rectified sinusoidal fashion, and therefore the power also needs to be varied, and therefore this power oscillates at low frequency. So the advantage of using a two stage, wherein the power gets decoupled, right, and the panel side does not necessarily have to supply any low frequency power, that advantage you loses if we switch over to this kind of quasi two stage topology. That is one. The second thing, what happens is, when we talk about this DC-DC converter, right, the RMS currents that are flowing in this DC-DC converter, for the same average power, right, for the same average power, RMS current in the various subcomponents of this DC-DC converter also increases, right? Let me give you an example. Let's say you are using flyback converter. So if this first stage is, let's say, a flyback converter, right? If this is a two-stage topology, then this would be operating with almost a fixed duty cycle, and this current will also be repeating itself every switching frequency, right? And so on. So for example, the input current will look something like this always, and the output current will look something like this. But now what has happened is, because this duty cycle is varying, if you see the input current, it will no longer be always like this. It will have to be, it may look something like this. So if you see now, for the same amount of power, for the same average power, the RMS current that flows in the switch increases, which causes additional losses. More so, the transformer also becomes little bit bigger. Why? Because again, the peak current is now much more, right? If you see, this is the current, peak current is much more. For the same average power, we could have done it with a much lesser peak current if the DC-DC converter produces a DC output voltage or a constant voltage or a constant current, right? But now, because it is producing variable output, the peak current has increased for the same average power. Now, because the peak current has increased, this peak current leads to increase, so you need to have sufficient core so that it does not saturate, so it leads to a bigger size of transformer. So yes, apparently it looks like there is an advantage of improved efficiency and reduced filter requirement. But you if you see a little bit more depth, the additional filters which you might have used in the output now have actually gone away. But then the filter or the magnetics that is required in terms of the transformer might increase, right? So you have to do an evaluation how much is the increase as well as how much has reduced, and if it does make a sense to go for it or not. The switching losses in the inverter has gone away, but then the RMS currents have increased in this DC-DC converter, and thus the device losses, the conduction losses in this DC-DC converter will also increase, right? Third factor, power decoupling is no longer available. So yeah, there is an advantage, there are disadvantages overall, based on a particular application, particular voltage current requirement, particular device availability. One has to compare these possible solutions and see which one works better for that, for those conditions. Yeah, now next thing we will see is the single stage, right? Which is where you do DC-DC boost as well as inversion in a single stage.